Tomorrow. I'm one of the lead animators over at Creative Overdose Studios and the president, co-founder of Creative Overdose Studios.
Activity in overdrive, you know. What else can I say? I'm the CEO and one of the founders of the company.
Owner. Nobody really tells me what to do, so that's a plus. But I do have people that still keep me in line. I mean, that's what I got the team for. That's what I got my partners for. So, but I mean, it feels great. It's cool.
At times it can be hard. You have to be strong-minded. You have to be willing to be creative and work on creative solutions. So it's like I wouldn't say it's hard. I feel like if you love it, it's not hard. It's just challenges that make you better. It's things that just push you to the next level. So I wouldn't say it's hard. I would say there's certain things that just kind of help you become a better artist, a better business owner, just a better overall person in general. You know, it teaches you about your strength and what you're really capable of when you run across certain things. So
Yeah, I can do that. Well, me and Lakita and a couple of other friends, we came up with this idea for having a studio like our junior year in college. And so we kind of mapped out how we wanted to do things. We didn't know exactly what we wanted to do. We just knew that we wanted to start an animation company. I know I wanted to do short animation films. And they were on board with it too, and we just kind of just hashed everything out in our apartment on our living room floor. That's pretty much how we came up with the concept of Creative Overdose. And we had a bunch of names before we came up with Creative Overdose. So what ended up happening is we kept doing our research and just was talking to a couple of our professors at school our senior year, and we had a business and animation class where you would come up with a business name and just kind of figure out what you want to do with animation. And so when we presented it to our professor, he was like, that's a really good idea. And we told him what we wanted to do, which was like graphic design, web design, video production, animation, all these other things. And he told us what we would be, which would be a turnkey company. And right when he, congratulated us, we passed the class, and right when he told us that we did a good job and had a really good idea and that we should do it, he said, you guys would be my competitor. And he said it'd be friendly competition because he did short films and he also did some graphic design work, some projects on the side too. It's just that we would have been doing a little bit more than him, which would be like the web design and production and motion graphics and stuff like that. So we skipped a couple of years. 2011, I saw a video. It was an interview with Ralph Bakshi, and he was talking to a group of students and stuff, talking about how you can start your own animation studio with the people in the room that he was talking to. And what he was saying was you don't have to go to college and go and try and work for like these big studios, like the big boys in animation and stuff like that, the god of studios. He's like, you don't have to do that, but if that's something you want to do, go for it, push for it. But he said when he made Fritz the Cat, it was just him and a few friends in a storage unit with some Xerox machine and some paper. And it said, I think it cost him about maybe $1,000, maybe a little bit more than $1,000 to make Fritz the Cat, and ended up making millions off of that movie. Just him and some friends. And that lit a fire in me, and it made me think, we are those people. And during that time, we had already worked for some studios. Each of us had worked in the field doing animation or art of some kind, even doing some freelance stuff. So me and Lakita and a couple other friends just got together, and we decided to really, really push at getting Creative Overdose done. And Lakita came up with the name Creative Overdose after a bunch of other names that kind of fit and didn't, and it just worked out. The name stuck, we liked it. And then later on, we met up with Jason Lopez and Stephanie, his wife, and asked them to join the team, be our partners, and they were down for it because they had the same idea and the same goals as we did, which was to make our own content, create jobs here in Atlanta, and give other artists and animators an opportunity to get some experience and also to make money. Everybody's going to make money. That's the byproduct of what we wanted to do. So we did that, and here we are 8 years later. We're still doing it. It was exciting. I think when you get your first, maybe your first client or your first project, or actually your first big client, because we had a lot of stuff where it was like a lot of little things here and there. But when you get that first big budget client, that's when you're like, yo, it's real. It's real. Like, we're really doing this. We're out there. We're known in Atlanta. So it's like, we're a small studio, but I think it's just real when people like recognize you. You tell them what you do, and you say, "Oh, Creative Rules," and they're like, "Oh, I've heard you guys. I visited your website, or I've seen this, or I check you guys out." That's when you know it's real. I remember we were invited after graduating from the Art Institute. We were invited back to do a panel and talk to the students about working in animation and how to get in the door and all this stuff. And one of our instructors, actually two of our instructors, were on the panel as well, and they were like, we're really proud of you guys. He said, out of a lot of people that we went to school with, he was like, you're the only ones that did it yourself, that really didn't work for anybody. You guys had your jobs, but you've done your own. You created your own business, and you're doing it. And he's like, that was mind blowing in itself. That was mind blowing in itself, to be like, yeah, we're actually a legit studio. We're a legit business. I mean, we knew we were working and doing stuff, but when he said that, or when both of them said that, we were like, holy crap, yeah, we are. We did. We are a business. Like, it's real. We had students coming up, giving us their demo reels, and then talking to us, and have people asking us about positions and stuff, and then just giving them feedback on the industry and how we do it, how we're in it from an entrepreneur perspective. So it was, that's when it hit. That's when it hit like it was real. It's like a bunch of brothers and sisters arguing and fighting. That's what it's like. All arguing over who's gonna get the big piece of chicken. That's what it's like. But it's not in like a fight, like in malicious way. It's just like we have all these ideas, and it's just about those. We're all coming together. We have these ideas, and we're just trying to make it make sense for the story. Like, we have a story that we're working on called Zufu: A Tale's Tale. It was created by Jason and myself, co-creator, and also with another partner of ours named Alana. Just having us, like, bringing in all these characters and concepts and just this world building that we're doing, and getting the input from Stephanie and Lakita and Trevon. It's just these are just core people of the team. It's just amazing, man. It's amazing. There's some things that fly, there's some things that don't, and like I said, you argue, you fight for it, you try to make it make sense, and then at the end of it, you're like, you know what, you're right. It's almost like, you arguing with your significant other, they're right, but you stand in your ground on it, and then at the end of it, after you had some time to sit and think, you're like, yeah, nah, they were right, all right, let's do it this way. So that's what it's like. You might bump heads sometimes on some things, but at the end of the day, we compromise, and we understand that this is bigger than our feelings, and we're just trying to tell a good story.
I think for me, sometimes when it gets like that, it gets overwhelming. Sometimes you probably have to take a moment to decompress. Because sometimes you could be doing a lot of things. You could be doing a lot of things at one time, and you could be spreading yourself thin. So sometimes you got to go back to the drawing board, reschedule, or have those meetings with certain team members that aren't pulling their weight, and figure out what's going on, because it could be an issue, with them going on. So just kind of, taking time out to sometimes decompress. A lot of business owners don't understand that. They think you just have to go, 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 go. But sometimes you do have to take time out and decompress, especially when things seem like they're starting to fall apart or become chaotic. So just kind of take time out to decompress. Not too long, but just kind of woosah and recollect yourself. So, yeah.
All the time. It's never as streamlined as anybody thinks. It's always something. Like, let's say, like when you're setting up a scene that needs to be approved by the client or by the director, or which would be me, especially in animation. If something's not right or something's not moving right, or the timing is a bit off, well, we have to send that back. And one thing that we don't do, which some people might do as a beginner, is they'll start with the animation and they got the animation moving, and then they start doing coloring and all this stuff. And then after you look at it, you're like, well, you gotta fix this. Why would you move on to this next step? And we didn't even approve this yet. So now you have to go back and do all that stuff all over again. And that stuff that happens, it does happen. Like, you'll see some little changes of stuff and you're looking at consistency on things, and if it's not right, you have to do it over. And that can hold up the process. It can make people frustrated because they might think they have the timing down and it might just be a little bit off. Or, there might be a little thing that needs to be fixed and you just have to go back and fix it. So that's some of the hard stuff that goes in. Or another one is if the audio, you might have the wrong audio and your client sent you an updated audio and you're like, well, we kind of roughed out everything to this audio, and they're like, well, we had to make some changes. So a lot of back and forth sometimes in the process with that.